and welcome to Season 3, Episode 2 of Witchcraft Chats, sponsored by Evermoving We Rise and Moonlight Potions and Charms. I am your amazing goddess host, Miss Nikki Kirby, and we have our world-renowned chaos magician, Saul Ravencraft. How you doing, Saul?
I'm doing fantastic today, Nikki. How are you?
I'm doing great. You look like you are like on some beach. You just came in from the beach and you're just chilling.
This is my summer uniform, and I realized I should just go ahead and wear it during Witch Hat Chats today, because it's hot.
It is. It is hot outside. I tell you one thing, I have been getting ready for Mystic South. I know by the time that people see this, I will be probably on my way coming home from Mystic South. I'm getting ready for Mystic South because in a couple of days I will be leaving for Mystic South. I've been busy making candles and getting those ready for Mystic South. And I am just worn out and like to take a nap.
But how was Mystic South for you?
Well, I think when I come home, it's going to be amazing. I am looking so forward to it. You know, I actually am teasing Kat, who is a publisher at Llewellyn. I received the Llewellyn catalog yesterday. She and I have been really wanting to get together and meet. And I received the Llewellyn publication, the catalog yesterday, and it said, "Wouldn't you like to take a summer vacation?" And I'm like, okay, I'm going to Mystic South. How many other ways do you want me to go? I mean, how many more hints do you want to tell me?
Sure.
And I know this will be the last day that you'll be doing Witches Fest.
Right. I'm in the middle of Witches Fest right now. We had our presentation on Friday, and then I've got one more to do this afternoon, and it's been pretty exciting. It's using the Zoom events, and there's a day, Saturday, yesterday was live in New York City. I was not able to make the commute to do that in person, but I'm involved in all of the virtual, and it's been a good event. There's a lot of dynamic speakers, a very, very broad topic of subjects, and I think everyone who took advantage of the getting their ticket and getting involved, including our two lucky winners, will have had a very good time and a very enlightening opportunity to broaden their practice.
Yep. I think that they will. Awesome. Do you want to know what our divination is for today?
Always.
All right. So for those of you who know what I do, I drink positive energy tea from Yogi. And no, they don't pay me. I wish they did. That would be nice. But they always have these little intentions is what they do. So their intention for today is if you see good, learn something. If you see bad, learn not to be. Ooh. So Mr. Saul, with your wonderful, amazing insight, what does that mean?
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Never. I never mock you.
Well, we are made up of stories. Humans are very much about stories. And there are stories that we use to learn the great myths, and there are examples that we see which are sort of living stories. And we can learn positive influences. We can see styles of doing things and reacting to things that teach us to be better. Then we go, wow, I want to be like that. I want to be that smooth when I encounter something like that. And then there are the counter examples where we see the crazy, and we see the triggers, and we go, I would really like to be more disciplined than that. Especially when we recognize ourselves in those things. Every once in a while, we'll see someone do something that we go, man, I do that. Is that what I look like? Shit. No, let's not do that. And so we can learn by counter examples on how to rearrange ourselves. And we should always be paying attention to the people that inspire us, and the stories and the situations that inspire us, and those that trigger us, and those that reflect us poorly. I guess they reflect us well, but they reflect our poor attributes. Right? And one of the truths about walking this path is you do have the ability to change. You do have the ability to control your own response and control your own involvement. So do it. It really kind of drives me nuts. All of the people that claim to be practitioners, that are constantly putting out their whiny bits on social media. Oh, I feel so unloved, and okay, I get that sometimes you need a confessor, and maybe you need a friend and a bottle of wine and or something, right? Right. But just pouring out your challenges, I don't think is really the most effective way to do it, because you're really passing the buck there. Right. And now that doesn't mean that you should never share your challenges. You know, the other day when I did my reading from Curia Arcanum, I was dealing with some shit. And I was upfront that I was dealing with some shit because I knew it was affecting my demeanor. But I also tried to be clear that I owned this, and that while this did diminish my energy, and this was something that I had to spend some time being sad and being frustrated, that was mine, and I wasn't looking for people to bring me cupcakes or hugs or anything like that. I mean, I like all that stuff, and send them if you got them, but don't wait for me to be sad, right? Do it now. Right. But I think there's a difference between being authentic and being needy. And our current culture really thrives on neediness. And if you're a cute young girl and you send that out, then you got a bunch of horn dogs that'll go, oh honey, I would come over and take care of you, right? I would bring you goulash. Right? And now when you're like me, they just go, suck it up, buttercup. Right? Where's my free reading? Right. And I guess that's a sign of success. That shows that the vibe I'm putting out is a strong one for people, and maybe that's a good thing. But yeah, I feel like everyone who walks this path has to know that you're responsible for your own shit. Right. And even though you may have allies, even though you may need someone to just go, I just need to vent about this and get another perspective, because this drives me nuts. And, you know, you don't know exactly what to do for your shadow work. Which is true. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we can't see ourselves in the mirror. That's one of the biggest things I deal with. Is right. I just try to solve problems and help, and I don't necessarily know how to, you know, the cobbler's children have no shoes. Yeah, I don't always know what to do for myself. And I don't necessarily have people that understand my path well enough to help me see it. As my path changed, those kinds of people fell out of my life because they didn't know what to do here. And I haven't necessarily found my tribe exactly. And I don't think I'm the only one. I think there's a lot of people that are struggling with that. And all I can say is you gotta keep moving and keep looking for those examples. I'm gonna stop talking now.
That's the reason why you need a shadow reading from me. Mm-hmm.
Well, it seemed like we did that, and I believe the outcome was you said, "Suck it up, Buttercup."
No, I did not. And everybody, I will give you a hug, Saul. So everybody needs to do hashtag Saul needs a hug.
Oh, yay. Goodness gracious.
Hashtag Saul needs a hug. Or hashtag Saul has a hug. There we go. We're going to give Saul a hug. Oh. Baby Saul.
Now you are mocking me. See, I try to be authentic and put it out there, and look what you do. Oh, well.
We're going to give you a hug. Here we go. We're going to give you a hug. We're going to give Saul a big hug.
So what's going on with you?
You know, I think it means for basically open up your eyes and look around you. You know, you need to kind of change your perspective. You know, people look at things differently. Two people can see the same thing and they can see it in different ways. It's just like they say, when I was taking criminal justice, they say that people don't see the same thing in the same way. You couldn't rely on people. God, I can't remember. I am so tired. You couldn't rely on witnesses because they didn't see the same thing in the same way. You know, it's just like one would describe the guy and like being tall. The other one would say they're short. One would say the guy has on a black shirt. The other one would say the guy had on a blue shirt. You know, it just depended on their color and stuff. It's just the way that they saw things and they think. It's the way that people look at things. And, you know, I think it's just the way you look at it. It's just like you can watch a movie or you can read a book. For example, you were talking about, what was it? The 4 Agreements. You can read that book 8 times, and each time you can come out with something different in the book. It's something that you miss it. It's just like the book, How to Make Friends and Influence Them too. That's another book that you can read it, and every time you read it, you come out with something new each and every time.
Sure.
You know, it's one of those things. even in your own tarot readings, just like with the Robin, I think what is yours? The Robin Wood
It's
tarot.
the Robin Wood deck is my favorite.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You
far.
come out with something different every time you do a reading. Me, it's the Dragon tarot. I come out with something. I learn something new every time I do a reading. It's the way we look at it each and every time. It's not like, I mean, there's like 1,000 different readings out there, and there's 1,000 people. It's not like we pull out the let's say we pull out the Tower for a person, and it's about their lover, and their lover is cheating on them, and we're pulling out the Tower for them. It's not going to be the same situation every single time. It's always going to be something a little bit different. And we learn something a little bit different each and every time with that Tower. It's about opening up our minds, and we can see the negative, we can see the positive at the same thing. Basically, you take the situation, you leave in the good, and you just chop out the bad. There you go. It's basically like a sandwich. You eat the good part of it, and then you throw the bad part of it away. No big deal. And that's basically what it's saying. Keep the good part and throw the bad part away. There you go. And don't repeat the bad part. Because when you repeat the bad part, you are becoming whatever that bad part is. There's your simple explanation. Boom.
There you go.
There you go. All right. So, Saul, what are you up to?
Oh, nothing really. Worked so hard on the last several things, and of course, when you're doing that, it's difficult to build up momentum for the next stuff. And so I'm in that little challenging space right now where I gotta figure out how to make things go, and I will. But in the meantime, I'm in kind of a dry hot spell. So this is a great time for people who would like to do some remote consulting with me to reach out. Certainly do that. Certainly happy to do that. And of course, I'll still be doing the Vault of Horror in Austin, and I'll be doing the Times at Arcanum's House of Curiosities, and open to other opportunities, as they say. But you've always got a ton of stuff going on. What's going on with you?
Well, you know what? I come back from Mystic South, and we are in the process of restocking. So we do have a new line called Shadow Work. Filled with oils, candles, and baths. So this is basically a line that helps you with your shadow work. So that way, when you are doing it, you can be able to accomplish it a little bit easier. It can help you to go deeper inside yourself and to be a little bit more compassionate with yourself, to be able to handle it a little bit better. The one thing about doing shadow work that most people don't understand is that it's better when you have somebody to help you with it. You know, the one thing I encourage everybody to do is to have a therapist to start and to help you with this. Because you don't have to be crazy. No, when you go see a therapist, you're not crazy. Everybody really needs to see a therapist because everybody has issues. We all have issues. That means you're normal, okay? That doesn't mean that you're a bipolar. It doesn't mean that you are automatically depressive, maniac or whatever else, they're going to try and tag you or something like that. It doesn't mean that you're severely mentally ill. Okay, we are all mentally ill to a certain degree. Everybody is. And the point about it going to a therapist is that we all have issues with something or somebody, or we need a third party to try to help us get through those issues. And society doesn't teach us how to deal with those issues, what they to suppress them and just get over it is what they say. They say get over it. Well, you know what? That's not good enough. Okay, we suppressing them doesn't do any good. Okay, what it does is it makes us angry, and then when we're angry, what does that do? That comes right back up, and then we're told to suppress our anger and not to deal with it. Well, what does that do? Well, it ends up in violence. It ends up with people being hurt, and it's just a absolute bloody mess. So I actually recommend that everybody at least go see a therapist at least once a month, have a talk out, just start talking about your problems and start with that shadow work. And after a while, things will get a lot better. You know, start having that person to help you with it. Now, it may take a while to find somebody that you trust to try to help you with it. Because I'll go ahead and tell you something right now. Finding a therapist to help you, especially if you are in a belief system that is outside of the mainstream, is very difficult. It took me a while to find one. But they are out there, okay? They are. And very helpful, especially to start out with your shadow work. But my products help you with that, and they smell absolutely wonderful. So be looking online for those. And also we got my readings and the ancestor readings, and of course the shadow work readings, as well as personal appearances. And then I'm appearing at the virtual Symposium of Pagan Thought and Practice with my workshop, Death, My Friend and Ally. It's only $16 for prepaid. And basically the whole workshop for one day, and it's July 23rd, and it's online, and it's all about death. So how do we view death as a pagan society? And it's a whole day. So it's a very, very good symposium just about death. So I would encourage you to be able to go online, prepay your $16 and just watch it, because everybody who is selected is very well researched. They've checked them out, very well done. So I would encourage you to go to www.pagancommons.org. More information is also available in our summary. Now, for Evermoving We Rise, our Lammas and Dark Moon ritual is on July 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you know that we are absolutely looking forward to all of those things. And is there anything else that you got going on for you, Saul?
Nope, not a thing. Well, I'm going to be too busy dealing with the flood of remote consultations and readings that are coming in immediately after this episode. So yes, I'll be very busy with all that.
I mean, what about your drive-in movies and everything? I mean,
well, those are still going on. those each happen once a month, and so the second Monday and second Wednesday are when those occur, and they're one-night events with about 2 or 3 days of prep to get them all set up, and so those are going on. And I'll still be doing Curia Arcanum, like I said, so I'll be there here and there, but nothing super major at the moment. I'm trying to rebuild those connections and make stuff go.
Yeah, you ought to see him. He gets all dressed up and everything. He looks so cute and frightening. So anybody who goes, you know what you ought to do is you ought to take a picture and post it on our Facebook page. Send it to our Facebook page, and we will post it on our Facebook page.
There you go.
There. Do that. Send it to our Facebook page and post it. That's what we'll do. Ain't that right, Saul?
You bet. Any acknowledgement at all is helpful.
All right. So when we come back, we will get into our topic.
All right, let's take a moment and find that information you need. Word from our sponsor.
We are all magical beings. As a solitary magical practitioner, you can grow and develop yourself independently. Yet, the solitary path can be difficult and lonely with setbacks and self-doubts. And as you find your way without affirmations, reinforcements, or a safe space to practice, what do you do when things bump back? At Evermoving We Rise, our name is our lifestyle. We realize that everyone's spiritual journey is extremely personal, but more easily traveled with reinforcement. We teach you to understand and use the magical tools at your fingertips, while being upheld and developing personal responsibility for your own spirituality. We have a safe space to practice and learn as you master your craft. When situations bump back, you will have the entire community behind you, as we are a magical family who work to sustain each other. Discover the benefits of working within a society dedicated to helping you grow on your personal path. Start today. Visit us at our website, Linktree, or Facebook page and discover why we don't fit in the box.
At Witch Hat Chats, we promote magical knowledge, arts, and music from all cultures. We invite you to join us as our guest to share your practice, especially if your traditions are lesser known. Email us at witchhatchats@gmail.com. Tune in every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Facebook page.
And welcome back to Witch Hat Chats. Miss Nikki and I are talking about, well, what are we talking about today?
We're going to be talking about covens versus solitaires. So, what is, in your opinion, Saul, a solitaire?
Well, I guess Klondike is my the first one I learned, where you deal out the 7 piles, and it's red-black alternating, and you're trying to get all of the aces covered.
We're not talking cards, honey.
Oh dear.
We're talking magic, sweetheart.
Well, I mean, I kind of relate to what Groucho Marx once said, that he could never join a club that would have him. I've I've never been someone who participated strongly in team sports. I played like a little soccer and flag football in elementary school, but I was always the oddball. I never really got into band. I spent some time in choir, but I was still kind of an oddball. I spent some time in drama. Even there, I was a bit of an oddball. And so I had to in many ways, find my own path. I had a little collection of oddball friends when I was a kid that we kind of helped each other survive. But outside of that, it was as I got into the work world and the wider world, it was always difficult for me to find my tribe, find the group that I belonged in, and so in a lot of my pursuits, both professional and spiritual, I've essentially made my own way with things, which by definition makes you a solitary practitioner. And so I've never really successfully gotten myself involved with a group for any significant length of time. I've had some for a little bit, but it never really took, and I had to move on. Now you, of course, have been very heavily involved in coven work and that sort of thing, so I imagine your experience has been very different.
Well, I've been in and out of covens. I've had good experience. I've had bad experience. When it comes to covens, my definition is a group of people who have similar beliefs, and they come together to do a working and to celebrate and to basically have a good time. They also, like I said, they do a working, and afterwards they celebrate and have a good time. That's what they pretty much do. They're not going to form a cult. They're not there to commit suicide. They're not there to, do all that other crap that a lot of people think that they're going to go and do. They're not doing all of that. There's millions of reasons to join. There's millions of reasons not to join. There's all kinds of reasons. So what would be reasons to to be a solitaire? Saul, what are your reasons why you're staying to be solitaire?
Well, I suppose if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to be told what to do, that may make it more difficult for you to participate in a coven. If you're someone who resists authority and hierarchy and that sort of thing, it may be more difficult for you to function in a coven. If you're someone who is not necessarily into following instructions, that doesn't necessarily like to put things together by the rules, then that can make a coven difficult for you. If you are someone who struggles with relationships, then a coven may be difficult for you. Those are the kinds of things that I think can have defined me at various points. Not necessarily right now. I think some of those things have changed for me. But also there is the idea of just kind of being set in your ways. If you've developed a certain amount of experience with things, in college, if you have life experience, you can test out of things. Where you go, okay, here, let me demonstrate that I know this stuff, and then they give you credit for that, and you don't have to sit around with the kids fresh out of high school to cover things you've been doing for the last 20 years.
The old farts.
Right? But a coven, depending on their approach to things, may or may not give you that opportunity. And you may be someone who has been a solitary practitioner for decades, who now needs to interact as though you were someone who was fresh to the game. And I can certainly understand why some traditions require that. I get it, but it can also be a real human challenge to do that, and not necessarily productive. And so it depends on the design of the coven and their ability to do that. Something that you said that I like the idea of is for people to gather to do things that are difficult to do by yourself, to pull that energy together. It's a barn raising, right? We're gonna get together, we're gonna do this work, we're gonna bang it out, and then we're gonna go back to our own homes and be just fine. I think one of the challenges that has always happened to me in trying to be involved with groups like this is a little bit like of what we were talking about ahead of time, is dealing with people's drama llamas, and all of the stuff that they bring in, and sometimes these are people of authority in the group that are using the group as their own personal therapy, and using the group as their own personal fiefdom, right, to demonstrate their own power. And I'm not really interested in spiritual competition. And so any group that engages in that kind of stuff, that's difficult for me. I don't want to go tell, dear hi muckety muck so-and-so, this person is annoying me, right? Can you help, right? Yeah, I don't want to do that. And if those are the dynamics of the group, then maybe I don't belong there. And usually I don't. Usually I recognize that I'm not supposed to come back. And it's usually after I shoot my mouth off about something, where they ask me for an observation or input, and I usually try to just go, we don't need to talk about that. And then they insist, and then my authenticity comes out. And I usually, me, I don't try to berate people or push or anything like that. But if you're going to ask me about something, I'm going to try to be, I've got a blue jay trying to tell me how to say this. I'm going to try to be authentic about this. And if you want to know what I really think, I'll tell you. I'll be polite, but some people don't want to hear what you really think. They just want to hear, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Mea culpa. That's not always my style.
Well, I've had my share of bad covens. I've had my share of a lot of bad covens. I've had my share of covens that think that they owned me. I've had my share of where the high priest demanded that I had sex with him. That was his way of initiating me. That's what I had to do. I had to have sex with him in order to be initiated. And I'm like, I'm not that attracted to you. And you're married. And I'm not that attracted to you. And I'm not that desperate. And I'm not that attracted to you. That was another thing. I mean, I mentioned it about several times. I was in my early 20s. And I mean, he was this big fat guy, too. I was like, eh.
Well, and that's not to discount the value of legitimate sex magic in a consenting group where that is part of the practice.
Right.
If it's not an open part of the practice that everybody's involved with, and it's just exerting authority, then yeah, clearly that's a harassment issue and was not advertised right up front, and that's a real problem.
But that was part of being a woman, and being harassed. That is part of what women would go through, Saul. And to this day, some women still go through that.
Right.
Unfortunately. Because even in our society, some men do think that they own women, and they still think that we are property, unfortunately, and we are not. So, ladies, if the high priest says that they have to have sex with you in order to initiate you into any type of tradition, tell them to take their dick and shove it up their ass, okay? Because if any deity wants you to do that, tell the deity to go fuck itself, okay? And that is the only F word we can say to make this PG-13 for this show. All right. Now, okay. So I had that issue. I've had issues to tell me where I wasn't allowed to talk to any other coven unless I had permission from the high priestess. I was not allowed to talk to any other high elder of any other coven unless I had permission from the high priestess. I wasn't allowed to ask questions to the high priestess. I got kicked out because I asked the high priestess why we wasn't celebrating Samhain. Yes, I was kicked out because I asked why we wasn't celebrating Samhain. Let's see, why else was I kicked out? Oh, God, I've been kicked out for so many reasons. And then when they kicked me out for that, I turned around and said, you know what? I get kicked out easier in pagan groups than I do in Christian groups. I said, at least they gave me 3 or 4 chances. I mean, damn. You know, I mean, come on, Christ. So for a long time there, I would drift in and out of various groups. But the thing about society is I always blame myself. I always would say, what's wrong with me? Because it had to be me. You know, society always says it's you, not them. And it wasn't until I started to get into psychology and I started to learn about me, and I always would go into my shadow work. that I learned that it wasn't me, it was them. It was about control. These were groups that I wanted to be a part of, but all these groups had to have complete and 100% control of all of their people. And I was the type of person that people would look towards me to be a leader instead of being the one to be the follower, because I would ask questions. I would want to know, why did we do this and why did we do that? And it wasn't because I wanted to lead, because I was never interested in power. And I'm still not interested in power. I'm just curious. I just wanted to know the reason why behind certain things. And I'm the type of person where if somebody says, well, I want you to go and do this, I'm like, well, why do I have to be the person? Why can't somebody else do it? I'm really like that. I'm just that type of person. I'm like, why do I have to go and do the cooking? Why can't somebody else do it? I'm really, really like that. I hate cooking, I'm one of those type of people, but I'll go do it. It's like, I forgot where I heard this quote. I'm one of these people. I don't seek power. It's when power's thrust upon me is when I go and I act upon it. I'm one of those type of people because I hate it when I have power thrust upon me, because I understand that when I have power thrust upon me, it's with great responsibility. When you have power, you have responsibility to the people that is underneath you. You have to actually go do something now. And I'm the type of person, I don't want to go do anything if I don't have to. I want to be responsible for myself, not for everybody else. So for a long time, I went from group to group to group, and I just decided, well, why don't I just go and do my own thing, and started studying various books, and I went to various festivals, and I just went and did a lot of networking and communication with the various people and met various things. And when I decided that I met my mentor, who her name is Anna, and I talked to her, and she said, well, why don't you start your own coven? And I'm like, why would I start my own coven? Who would want to follow me? Really? Because I'm the type of person that, number one, I want you to follow your own path. I believe everybody has their own path. I'm not the type of one that everybody has to follow me. They have to be they have to believe in a certain way that I believe in, or everybody's going to hell. No, I'm not like that. Please. I want everybody to experience their own personal spirituality themselves. I want them to have a good time while they're doing it. I want them to be able to enjoy themselves while they're doing it, and to be as serious as they can be. I don't want them to be so serious that they don't see the humor that the deities have placed in us to see in it. There are certain traditions out there, and I'm not going to mention them because I have explored several different traditions that, I'm sorry, you have to take the one out of their ass in order for them to enjoy any type of thing. because they don't enjoy anything. It's like, oh my God. If there's like one, if somebody, if somebody farts in the middle of a ritual, the whole world's going to hell. You have to start the whole ritual all over again. But, when it comes to a group versus solitaire, I think some things you might want a group and some things you might just want yourself. And all of that depends on you. But if you want a group, you want to do your research. You want to make sure that that group blends with your beliefs. And I don't think you want to go and join that group on your first try. See if that group is open for you to, spend some time with that group, not just during ritual, but during some of its times when it's not doing ritual. Like if they're going out, I don't know, if they're going out to like a wine tasting, or if they're doing book club, or, whatever else that they're going to go do, they're doing something else. If all they're doing is ritual, then that's okay. That's all you want to do. But you may want to find a group that's doing something else. They're getting together for like a movie night, or they're getting together to go to a festival, or something that they want to enjoy a little bit more. Get somebody who actually wants to enjoy life instead of spending life that's so damn serious all the time. Because life was meant to be enjoyed. It's not meant to be serious all the time. If we have learned anything from the past 3 years of misery and hell, it's to be enjoyed. It's not to be indoors and to be frightened all the time. I am getting so sick and tired of us going out and we're afraid because we got this damn virus that's out there and it's changing all the time. And then if it's not that, we got some idiot who decides, hey, let's take a gun and let's shoot every damn body for no reason at all. People, just drop your guns. Let's get out there and let's just have some fun. That's all we need. Let's live life to its fullest. We haven't been able to do that in 3 damn years. 3 damn years. Let's just go out and do that. Can't you tell I need a damn vacation? I mean, hell, Llewellyn has sent me a catalog saying, don't you need a damn vacation? You know how long it's been since I've had a vacation?
How long has it been?
It's been a long damn time. And I'm talking about more than 3 years.
Yeah, I understand. And a day off is not a vacation. That's often a recoup day.
Hell, I haven't had a day off. But no, I mean, a group versus solitaire. There's times where I like to be a solitaire. I've got my own counsel. I like my own private time. Okay, I'm a Scorpio. Yes, Scorpios, we are mysterious because we like our own private time. I've when it comes to lovers, I say there's times where I want a lover. There's times I want you to go away and I want you to stay the hell away. And there's times I want you and I want you bad and I want you in this. Then there's other times I want you to go the hell away and stay the hell away from me, okay? That's just how I am. That's the reason why I don't want to marry. I don't want you around me all the time. And I understand that. And I'm okay with that. But that's me. That's how I am. I understand that. I'm okay with that. So when it comes to groups, when it comes to Evermoving We Rise, you know, we are a group. We get together. We have fun during our rituals. There's times that we're friends outside the rituals. We still get together. We have our conversations. We have talks. We have good talks about things, and it's just a wonderful thing. You have your good covens, you have your bad ones. I'm sorry, the ones that decide that they're going to participate in the bullshit called witch wars, which, by the way, there's no such thing as witch wars. Okay? Witch wars, they want to call it the fancy term witch wars because it's witches. It's called bullshit. Okay, that's what it's called. Bullshit. I'll repeat it again. Bullshit. That is what it's called. Okay. And with that, we're going to have a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
I'm Saul Ravencraft, co-host of Witch Hat Chats. I understand just how confusing and chaotic it can be to open to a path of magic and manifestation. Everything seems to turn on its head. I want to be an ally as you find the way upon your path. My studio setup will let us do readings, coaching, and exploration virtually, just as though you were sitting across the table from me. One size does not fit all, and we will work together to craft the right approaches to build your practice, your confidence, and your power using the tools of divination, magical works, and spirit connections. It's never too late to embrace a new path and emerge empowered. Go to TexasMojoMan.com and select Contact to begin. There's a message now. Let's get started working on your very good fortune.
We are all magical beings. As a solitary magical practitioner, you can grow and develop yourself independently. Yet, the solitary path can be difficult and lonely with setbacks and self-doubts, and as you find your way without affirmations, reinforcements, or a safe space to practice, what do you do when things bump back? At Evermoving We Rise, our name is our lifestyle. We realize that everyone's spiritual journey is extremely personal, but more easily traveled with reinforcement. We teach you to understand and use the magical tools at your fingertips, while being upheld and developing personal responsibility for your own spirituality. We have a safe space to practice and learn as you master your craft. When situations bump back, you will have the entire community behind you, as we are a magical family who work to sustain each other. Discover the benefits of working within a society dedicated to helping you grow on your personal path. Start today. Visit us at our website, Linktree, or Facebook page and discover why we don't fit in the box.
Have you heard? People are raving about Moonlight Potions and Charms with 5-star reviews. 5 stars for excellent products, amazing services, and fast shipping. We are an Etsy star seller. Listen to some of our reviews. Author and owner of Wicked Witch Studios, Dorothy Morrison said, "I'm in love. The Marie Laveau Altar on the Go is absolutely amazing and jam-packed with everything one could possibly need, no matter what sort of magic they're planning. Kudos on a great product." Jess said, "Absolutely love the Papa Legba prayer candle. I've been hunting for a good Papa Legba candle forever with zero success, and I adore this one." High Priestess said, "Adorable wooden coffins. Can't wait to use them." And Angelica said about our ancestor oil, "Exceeding my expectations. Packaged with love and smells amazing. Definitely recommending and buying again." Make sure to check out our Bubbling Cauldron Bath Bombs, available in Luck of the Irish, Lavender, and Dragon's Blood. Our magical milk baths are also available in Papa Legba Purification, White Flowers, Lucky Love, and Van Van. All are homemade and spelled with love, care, and intention. Our Happily Ever After candle line is designed with you in mind. There is so much more in our Wicked store to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. So come on in to Moonlight Potions and Charms at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and discover the wicked things that ignite the magical passion in you.
And welcome back to Witch Hat Chats. And Marvelous Saul and I are talking about covens versus solitaires. And as I was saying, witch wars are bullshit. Yes. The thing about it is, when it comes to the pagan community, we need to work together. Because if we don't work together, we don't get a lot of things. We don't get our rights that we are fighting so much to keep, which we really shouldn't have to fight to even have, because they're automatic. They are, but because we are going, nee, my wand is bigger than your wand, or my cauldron is bigger than your cauldron. Bitch, please. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. Or my guy is bigger than your guy. Who cares? Okay, who gives a damn? I personally don't, because I ain't worshiping your God. I don't work with your God. I don't care. Really?
Well, and it's funny, the language that we use, even unintentionally, about this kind of thing. I mean, today we're talking about solitary versus covens, like it's a cage death match or something like that.
Right.
And really, that's not what we're intending to talk about. It's not a competition; it's a comparison. Here are the situations where a group practice might benefit you. Here are the situations where a solitary practice might benefit you. Quite honestly, even if you're part of a coven, you need to have a solitary practice. You need to not just be witchy when you're in circle. Right? You need to be doing that every day, even when they're not around, to look at you and inspire you and that kind of thing. So it's funny how, you were talking about witch wars, how our very language for this just sort of drives us into this competition, and it's not. It's not a competition.
Mm-hmm.
It's a practice. It's a spirituality. In truth, there are some things that you need to accomplish that you can't get done by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
While it's not a witchy group, the Satanic Temple, I've started to have a little bit of involvement with the Satanic Temple because they're using the power of their group to help people whose rights are being taken away right now. And this is something they've done for a long time. It's one of their core values is people that are being messed with. They act as a group to push back against the oppression that's going on. And I really admire their ability to do that. And perhaps some of what makes them successful with that is that they aren't wrapped up in some sort of righteousness. They aren't wrapped up in the idea that my God is better than your God or something like that. Because at its heart, the Satanic Temple is not about any kind of a God. It's very much about the humans. So that's something that I am aware of, that there are things that as a primarily solitary practitioner that I'm not going to be able to accomplish on my own. And so I'm trying to lend some support to groups that are doing things that I think are useful, even though I may not get right in the middle of everything that they do. And a way to do this is in things like festivals. If you think about it, in many cases, a festival is a sort of temporary coven where everybody gets together for the weekend and they do rituals together and they interact together and then they go back their separate ways. And Witch Hat Chats, everybody who comes in here. I mean, right now it's mostly listening to us yak, which I guess has limited value, but there are opportunities. Wouldn't it be fun to do a Witch Hat Chats gathering where we got a few folks together, either in a real place or virtually, like what we did at Manifest Asia, where we had that social component there, but maybe something even more informal, where nobody has to give a speech or something, where we just hang out and talk about, movies and sandals and Chinese food and stuff, right? You just hang out and just be. And you were talking about that social aspect to being in a coven. I think that really is important. It's one thing to have a spiritual group while you fulfill your obligations, but it's also really wonderful to have that community of people that lives life and deals with the world through that lens, right? Where we all have a similar experience, and we ought to be able to talk about things that aren't ritualistic. We ought to be able to talk about, gosh, what do you use to prepare for your tax season? All right? Do you have a person? Do you use a software? How do you do that? I think one of the biggest challenges for me in trying to be on my path is I don't necessarily get a lot of feedback. I don't get a lot of resonance. I don't get someone going, hey, I like when you do that. You should do more of that. And my gosh, when you're trying to find what's good about yourself, you're trying to find what you're successful at. Having a group that will will help you identify those aspects, even very informally and casually. I think that helps. And also having people that can help fill in those blanks. I'm not good at this, but I'm part of a group where someone is better at this. And because we are in the group together, I can feel less shy about asking for help. What a wonderful thing that is.
Yeah.
And so those are aspects, I think, for grouping that really is a big deal. And maybe there's ways to do that as an informal collection of witchy type people that like to hang out together. I don't know, what do you call those, friends?
Well, you know,
is that what we call those?
Like blending your spiritual with us is like we blend our spirituality into our own lives. Like, for example, if I wanted to know how can I be able to get one of my plants to sprout a little bit better, you know, maybe one of my friends would say dedicate it to a certain deity, you know, or for example, up until this year, I've never had a problem with my cats getting into my plants. But for some reason, my cats decided this year, my outdoor cats decided this year, they're going to use my plants as a litter box. And I will never, ever harm a cat. But when I spend my hard time working on my my rosemary plant and my lavender plant, and I have worked a couple years on these plants, and I've gotten them so big, and now they're dead because of my cats, and it made me so damn mad. And all I wanted to do was kill my cats because they have all this yard, they have woods out in the damn back that they have gone and shed in, and suddenly they decided to use my gardening. All I did was see red, and I didn't understand why they suddenly decided, hey, let's use my plants to go and you know, decided to dump into. It took me months to figure out how to stop them because I put up fencing. I did everything I possibly could. And it wasn't until I finally found that it was orange peels that kept them away. Fresh orange peels. So for those of you who have cats, get fresh orange peels. That keeps them out of it. Fresh orange peels. You put it in there, and you'll have to redo those every about once a week to put them in there, and I'll keep them out of there. They've already killed my beautiful rosemary bush. I can't get it to come back up. But at least now I know what keeps them out of there. But you know, it just literally, I just saw red and I wanted to really go off on my cats because for some reason, like I said, they had this whole beautiful yard. It wasn't like there was just one little spot that they, you know, don't have anymore. They have a damn woods over here, and they suddenly, oh God, it still makes me mad every time I think about it. But you know, it's just one of those things. If you have like friends and stuff that you can be able to ask questions about those. With us, somebody could ask me that. My cats are digging in my garden. What can I use to keep them from digging in my garden? I can turn around and tell them orange peels, fresh orange peels. Use that because I can't stand the citrus smell. Lemon peels that do the same thing. Anything that's citrus can do the same thing. Do that. Use that for it. And it's good for the grass. It's good for the soul. So I mean, you know, something like that. And you know, it's one of those things. Or like, for example, candles. What can I use? I can't afford a scented candle. What can I use to make my candles smell good? Oh, take an essential oil, put it on top of a candle. You can dedicate it to a deity. You can be able to help do this and this and this and that. Boom, there you go. Or how can I be able to clean this and this and that? Hey, use baking soda. Baking soda does a lot of good with all this kind of cleaning and stuff. Plus, on top of that, if you use this and this and this and that, and you can go and start from here and go back, it helps you with being able to do prosperity work and blah, 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 and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is kind of stuff that having magical friends can be able to help you out with and stuff like that. This is what we do. Now, let me see how many people who go to church do that.
Well, and I think depending on your experience, you'll find that they do. I grew up in a Christian environment, and it was very common after a church service to go and have lunch at the Luby's or something like that with another family. And we didn't spend the time talking about the sermon. We didn't spend the time talking about all the ways that we could godify the world. We talked about stuff. Yeah, we talked about normal things, or the adults did, and I ate my macaroni and cheese. Because there wasn't necessarily kids to chit-chat with. But as I was growing up, that was called fellowship, and there were opportunities designed to create fellowship for people. And I do recall that being a good aspect of being a kid in that environment, is there were opportunities to interact and play and be, and it wasn't all about following the rules. It was about experiencing life through that lens. So I think you'll find that any gathering of sincerely spiritual people will do that through their own version of that, but I think it has to happen in an environment where you feel like people are on your side and on your team, and that they're not looking for your transgressions to report you or correct you, right? Mm-hmm. And that is not purely a Christian thing. Oh my word. I have experienced so many versions of that in the metaphysical community. And it's a shame. It's not productive.
It is. It is. But you know, that's the thing. I think society has taught us to look for the bad instead of looking for the good in others. And I think we need to rearrange our minds and start looking for the positive in people instead of looking for the bad in everything. It's what we need to do.
That's exactly what our opening divination was all about. Being informed by that good stuff and releasing that other stuff. So let's break away for just a few minutes for another word from our sponsors, followed by the Witch's Cabinet.
Have you heard? People are raving about Moonlight potions and charms with 5-star reviews. 5 stars for excellent products, amazing services, and fast shipping. We are an Etsy star seller. Listen to some of our reviews. Author and owner of Wicked Witch Studios, Dorothy Morrison said, "I'm in love. The Marie Laveau altar on the go is absolutely amazing, and jam-packed with everything one could possibly need, no matter what sort of magic they're planning. Kudos on a great product. Jess said, absolutely love the Papa Legba prayer candle. I've been hunting for a good Papa Legba candle forever with zero success, and I adore this one. High Priestess said, adorable wooden coffins. Can't wait to use them. And Angelica said about our ancestor oil, exceeding my expectations. Packaged with love and smells amazing. Definitely recommending and buying again. Make sure to check out our Bubbling Cauldron bath bombs, available in Luck of the Irish, Lavender, and Dragon's Blood. Our magical milk baths are also available in Papa Legba Purification, White Flowers, Lucky Love, and Bam Bam. All are homemade and spelled with love, care, and intention. Our Happily Ever After candle line is designed with you in mind. There is so much more in our Wicked store to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. So come on in to Moonlight Potions and Charms at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and discover the wicked things that ignite the magical passion in you. Are you at a crossroads? Not sure which direction to go? Or do you feel powerless? Or is there another question that needs answering? At Moonlight Potions and Charms, our many services assist our clients to emerge their authentic selves and embrace the power and magic that lies within them. Many of our readings provide the clarity one needs to pursue their life's destiny. Our soulful readings assist one to discover what is required to be in alignment with one's soul journey. Our tarot readings provide clarity and coaching for those who are at a crossroads in life. Our animal medicine readings show what our animal brothers and sisters can teach you about yourself and your life. Unsure where to start your shadow work? Book a shadow reading. There is so much more in our Wicked store, so visit us at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and embrace the power of your own magic.
Welcome back to Witch Hat Chats. Saul Ravencraft here with Miss Nikki Kirby, and we are going to jump right into the Witch's Cabinet. So I guess it makes sense to talk about groups and tribes and that sort of thing in our Witch's Cabinet. What do you think, Nikki?
All right. So how do you find your tribe, Saul?
Oh, man, if I knew, would I be here? It is challenging. It is challenging. I think a lot of it begins with building your own self-confidence and self-worth. I think until you really get comfortable in your own skin, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to have a good experience with any kind of a group.
You know, what you can do is, number one, you can read that book, How to Win Friends and Be an Influence. That's the first thing you can do. Watch videos off of YouTube on how to talk to people, because a lot of people don't know how to talk to people. And, you know, just go up to a person and generally be interested in them. Ask them, you know, make a comment. Ask them, where did they get that blouse from? Where do they get those shoes from? Even if you don't like the shoes, you may want to know where they get those shoes from. That way you know where not to go to.
Well, and I think the
some
key to that encounter is being ready to listen.
Right.
It's like some people, when they say "I love you," you're supposed to say "I love you too." That's the sign and counter sign. Where'd you get those shoes? I love your shoes. And then they're supposed to ask, where did you get your shoes? I love your shoes. No, I love your shoes more. Right? There is no sign and counter sign. If you ask someone something or you make a comment about something and you show interest in them, you need to listen to the response, not just waiting for your opportunity to jump in. You need to hear their name and pay attention to that and try to incorporate it and use it. You need to genuinely pay attention to what they're telling you and ask appropriate questions and accept that they may never turn the conversation to you.
Right.
And that's
you don't
okay.
take it personally. Yeah, and don't take it personally. And you know, one thing you can do with a friend of yours, a good friend of yours, is play a game. Both of you turn around and start asking each other questions. And all you can do is ask questions. One, ask a question, and then the response has to be a response to that question. And back and forth and back and forth. And all you can do is ask questions. The first one who makes a statement loses. And then you start again. And again and again and again. And you go back and forth. And this is how you learn how to be able to ask questions and how to listen and be able to master that. Because the person who's asking questions is the person who is always in control of the conversation.
Right. Right. But again, it's not about power. It's not about control. It's about connecting.
Mm-hmm.
And people are more interested in someone who sees them, who pays attention to them, and you'll get yours, right? Don't worry about it. But getting into a group and genuinely trying to understand something about the other people in that group will make it a lot easier for you to get involved. It'll also make it a lot easier for you to detect if this is not your tribe. Right? If all of the information you get back from people indicates that these are not your people, then you can find the nearest available exit as quickly as possible and not have to worry about it. So that's another advantage to that. And of course, you know, my mom is a challenging person for me sometimes. And I don't know why other people aren't challenged by her the same way that I am. It's that whole.
Because she's family and she knows how to push her button.
Yeah. But one of the things that my mom does that is just remarkable is she will talk to someone that she hasn't seen in a couple of years, and she will ask pertinent questions to the last time she talked to them. And I'm talking about someone who runs a booth at a Renaissance festival, right? She just has this way of absorbing that stuff in a way that I still have to use techniques to do. She seems to do it very naturally. And I have to work at that kind of stuff. I have to take notes, right? And sometimes I do to help me with that. And so as a result, a lot of people really appreciate their connection with her. And it's not so much because of all the things she's saying about herself. It's her obvious interest in what's going on with them. And it is something you can develop. The book you mentioned, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, it's an older book, but it's still valid. and it's pretty easy to get hold of for cheap. Great resource. I still love people looking at the Four Agreements as a way to deal with their internal versions of that stuff, and that shadow work that needs to be done. And they're not fancy books, but those things will make a difference to you. It's changing that lens. But also, I want to toss in real quickly the importance of maintaining your solitary practice and not needing someone to oversee you in your spiritual practice. You can't always have cheerleaders.
Well, that's also true, but your body language is another thing. You know, you notice that I smile a lot. Smiling puts people at ease, is what it does. It makes people feel easy. It makes people feel that they can relax around you, is what it does. You know, actually 90% of how people feel about you is through your body, is what it is. 10% is only by your tone. So if you want to really understand people, you need to get a book about their body language. How are they being affected by your body language? See, when you're watching your mother, watch her body language. See how she's actually using her body language. Maybe she's smiling a little bit more than what you're doing. Maybe she's tilting her head a little bit. You know, it's slight little things by that. I'm very good at doing a lot of those type of things. I didn't used to be. I used to be very awkward about a lot of things. When I say asking questions, I'm saying, how are you asking those questions? How, and the tone and the way and the method and so forth. And how are you doing all of those little things? All of that wrapped up in the package. You know, it takes a lot to be able to understand people. And when you're trying to understand how to affect others, you want to understand, number one, it's not about you, it's about them. So when you're trying to interact with others, this is the reason why I'm recommending these books. This is the reason why I'm saying you want to interact with others because you want to know other viewpoints. Not just so they can be able to say that yours is right or wrong or approval of you, because you really don't need approval of others. It's so that you can have a different view and expand your view. That's all we're saying. It's expanding your view. Okay? That's all we're saying. It's so you can be able to learn something new. All right. But you also, it's just easier when you have somebody else to be able to chat with. I like being a solitaire. I like having a group to talk to. I like having a community as well. I like both to be able to do that. But it took me a long time to be able to get into a group and to be able to talk to people. And trust me, I'm not really much of a people person, but nobody knows that. Most people don't. Most people think, oh, you can mix well with anybody. And yes, I can. I just don't want to most of the time, but I will, because I know how to do it. I have learned, I've taken the time to be able to watch the videos. Like I said, YouTube is very good to be able to watch and learn. I've learned watching and reading those books. They're very good to be able to learn. I'm learning from the top 1% of the population. These are people who have used these techniques to get higher up in our society. I've learned these techniques from them. I want to be able to get this way. So this is the reason why I'm encouraging others to do so. So that way you can get further up the ladder, up the line. And you can also get further in your magic that way. It's just a little bit easier when you have somebody to be able to talk to versus being on your own all the time. It's not easy being on your own all the time. It's not easy being alone all the time. Especially when you're depressed, because there's times you get depressed. There's times where you get angry and you need somebody to talk to. We all get like that. We all get that way. And it's nice to have somebody who actually has somebody who is similar spiritual beliefs. They may not believe exactly the way you believe, but it's similar. Versus somebody who believes totally different than what you are, and then they condemn you for what your beliefs. It's not like that. But if you have somebody who's kind of similar on the path, it's a lot easier. All right. So that concludes our episode for today. Boy, is that gone quickly. Woo. Okay, so that's all for our show today. So join us next week when Saul and I will be chatting about everything to do with llamas. Woo, it seems like this calendar year is just rolling on by, isn't it, Saul?
Oh, yeah.
We want to thank our first responders, essential workers, and medical workers for all of your passion, dedication, and what you're doing in this fight to win in this pandemic. And we really do truly appreciate everything you do. And you know what? We're getting so sick and tired of this virus, and we're getting sick and tired of all the new viruses that are coming along with it. And so, you know what, people? Quit making up new viruses, all right? We're so sick and tired of this. Ladies and everyone else, all of our minorities, our rights, I'll go ahead and tell you something, honeys. No one can give our rights away. They can't take away our rights because we are not property. I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. So if anybody says that our rights are taken away from us, you tell them, oh, hell no, they're not. We're human. We are not animals, and we are not property. They can go and ram it up their ass. Let them know that. Wear a mask. Get your vaccinations and boosters. Maintain 6 feet of distance from each other, and keep your fuzzy babies, your family, and yourself safe. And we'll see you next week. And have an amazing week.
I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock. And if you're hurting, they're willing to talk. Nikki Kirby with that black stone. I agree, Evermoving We Rise. Life and soul with a beautiful mind. I give you blessings under moonlight. I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock. And if your hurt and they're willing to talk.